Yeah.
Good evening. It is Monday, June 4th, 2018. We are the Bitter Knitters. My name is Jacqueline. Arthur's here.
Yo.
And Ryan's here.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
I'm really fucking high, so I'm phoning it in today.
Oh my god. You still have a month to go, Arthur. What do you mean you're high? You must be high on life.
Live.
Yeah, that's the strain of marijuana I am currently high on.
It's called live?
Yeah.
So I just want to start their stories off, but I have a little, I don't know how long we'll talk about it, but it's an update that we talked about previously. We talked about kind of how women's rights are changing in Saudi Arabia and how women are going to be allowed to drive. Well, the first 10 licenses were issued to women on Monday. So today, I guess in Saudi Arabian time, these are the women that will help to run the driving schools to help other people, other women become drivers. So, it's starting. They don't necessarily get to have the full country until June 24th, I believe. So these are the women that will help. But I mean, there's the start. There's the start of change.
Yeah.
Basically, what Jacqueline is saying, don't die in the next 20 days if you're a woman and you want a license.
Yeah, in Saudi Arabia. For
In
sure.
Saudi Arabia, at least.
Well, I mean, I'm reading here and I wasn't aware of this. I didn't know it was the only country in the world that had a ban on women driving. I thought that other Middle Eastern countries had that as well.
Oh, I thought so too.
Yeah, so that was kind of a surprise.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely a step into the 20th century.
Wait, but I thought like Afghanistan, Iraq would have the same rules. Do they not?
So did I, but apparently not. Well, maybe they don't give. This is the thing about this story. It was never an official law in Saudi Arabia, but they just would not issue them if you went to the driving school. And if you got caught driving alone as a woman, you could be arrested, you could be fined. They'd call your husband or your daddy or your brother or your son, whatever man was available to take you home and, beat you. But, yeah.
Well, I knew more liberal kind of households did allow the women to kind of drive in a private compound, like, the desert and stuff like that was allowed, I think. There was
we've seen video of that where, men are letting the women in their lives drive. Yeah.
Sweet.
So, I mean, that's it. There's still a lot of way to go. There's still women that are in custody that were protesting
in
the
Iran?
ban on driving. Yeah, well, just in Saudi Arabia alone.
Oh, okay.
So, excuse me, 17 people have been detained in recent weeks on suspicion of trying to undermine security and stability in specific cases of women's rights campaigners. So, that's still a long way to go.
Yeah, that's very broad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you gotta start somewhere, I guess,
Well, but Rome's not built in a day.
Exactly. And change doesn't come overnight.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be bad. I've got an itchy throat, guys. I might have to disappear and cough my lungs out. But anyway, so that's what we're gonna talk. That's the big update that I want to talk about because I do like to update Saudi Arabia.
Congratulations on Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, way to go. I did see something else that I thought was kind of funny, and apparently Iran posted on I didn't even know they had Twitter. Posted on Twitter some story about Israel being the like a plague and a tumor on the Middle East, and is some group in Israel responded with the Mean Girls gif as "Why are you so obsessed with me?" Which I thought was kind of hysterical for like an official government department to tweet out.
It's not. Trump's changed the game with that. Like you're allowed to act like a fucking teenager or a troll on the internet, even if you are a governing body or at least
country.
You know what I mean? Like she's changed the fucking game. And I mean, it's been entertaining, at least from my perspective.
Sometimes not.
Sometimes though, like I kind of have to say this. It's weird how the new era, I'm going to call it the new era, the T era, has kind of really influenced big time on how government officials respond to things. I mean, this isn't necessarily new, I guess, in the Philippines because the president there is kind of famous for his quips and stuff. But I mean, this is kind of impacting us on like this global scale, how we can call each other names and call other countries this. And it's like, we're kind of acting a little bit like Ferris Bueller here. Like we're not acting like actual countries.
No, it's a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I've got the bigger button, basically, is what people are saying.
It's not really just new, though. I mean, John Oliver brought this up a while ago, and I can't remember exactly I'm pretty sure it was a South American country where, I mean, the president wasn't using Twitter, but he'd host like a call-in radio show or TV show every fucking week. And kind of the same thing. Run his mouth to fucking, you know, his population. Like, oh, yeah.
And then he talked about when John Oliver dissed him, remember?
Yeah. Shit was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know.
Yeah, and they talk about the guy from, oh gosh, which, I don't know if it's Chechnya, Uzbekistan, the one with the cat who'd lost his cat. Remember that one? Yeah. So, I mean, there's kind of been fools on the internet for a long time, I guess.
But it's also kind of telling when you have to say this, and it shouldn't be coming from someone like me, because, you know, hello, who the fuck am I? But don't you have bigger things to worry about than John Oliver's response to you, or maybe what a blog says about you? Like,
they've already pilfered the fucking, you know, the coffers, so fuck it. What else do I got to do? Like, I'm sitting here petting the tiger I just bought on your tax dollars, and I'm gonna fucking do some funny tweets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do. There's no like government to run anymore. You just,
exactly.
you know. Let's move on. We I don't know if we love it, but we talk about it whenever I find a really kind of stupid or annoying or an upsetting story involving guns. I like to share them. And this was the big story this weekend about the off-duty FBI agent who was, you know, busting a move in some bar in Denver, Colorado, and he was going for it. And he did a backflip, and his gun flew out of his waist. And he immediately went to pick it up, and it fired and shot someone in the crowd. Non-life threatening, thank goodness. But I mean, this is a trained FBI agent. If he was drunk, should he have had his gun on him? A. And B, what the hell? Why are you in a club with a bar? I can't even get into a bar with, like, you know, a nail file.
Yeah, but he had the badge. He had that special little fucking I can do whatever I want badge. You know what I mean?
My understanding, like, I know for the NYPD cops whom I have a lot of respect for, I know for a fact when they're off duty, they can't even wear the uniform going home on the train. Because a lot of them do take the train. They can't even wear that. So let alone can they show their badge or carry the gun.
But FBI guys are already in plain clothes, right? They don't wear a uniform.
I think it's different when you're talking like your state or local police over like federal kind of shit. Because I know it's like that here even. Like a regional police officer has to relinquish their gun immediately after shift.
I was going to say,
but an RCMP officer can carry their gun home.
But my main concern with something like this is, and I'm sure this has been going on for a very long time, and this is probably like a one-off kind of a thing. I'm not excusing that, but it kind of disproves the point of responsible gun ownership. You know you're going to get sloshed. You have this gun in a very unsafe position. Not only can something like that happen, but somebody can easily grab it from you and fire it if they want to. Like Jacqueline said, you can't enter most New York City bars with anything. Like, I know you can't even wear steel-toed shoes, like, you know, the Timberlands and stuff. You can't even wear that. So it's just a little bit crazy to think that you can enter a bar with a fully loaded gun, as it's, you know, basically, and be drunk enough to shoot somebody.
Accidentally shoot somebody.
Yeah, like, it's crazy.
That's crazy. And this is a person I'm going to assume has had intensive gun safety training.
We would assume. That's an assumption.
We hope the FBI is teaching this. You have to be caught before you can even get to the FBI.
To straw man this a little bit, though. So a butcher spends his entire life around knives, right? To him, the knife isn't as dangerous, and then he cuts his fucking fingers off. Gun's the same thing. Federal agent, I mean, every fucking day he's got a gun strapped to his hip. To him, the more and more that gun's there, the less dangerous that gun becomes in his mind. Not how fucking less lethal the gun actually is, right?
But you don't use the gun like you would use a knife to butcher something.
But that's not the point I'm making. The point is that just him having the gun all the time makes him not think of it as such a deadly fucking object, right?
Like
he's complacent. Exactly. He's just complacent in the fact that there's always a firearm there. He forgets the fact that if that thing falls, it's probably going to shoot somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Well, to me, like, I would, oh God, this is probably not something I should say, but this to me is like a freak accident.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this
Oh, absolutely.
is a literal freak
He didn't
accident.
intend this to happen, 100%.
I just hope that I do get tired of this. And this is coming from someone who's pretty liberal standpoint. I just don't want to hear anybody saying, this is why we should have gun control. It's a one-off accident. Leave it alone. I do kind of, because to me, my main question is, what's the answer to this? Like, are we going to have locker rooms for officials to have their guns put away? Like, it's just so concerning.
There should be a reason why you don't go to a place like this.
Drunk, yes.
Well, I don't know if he was drinking. There's no results yet as to whether he was drunk. Yeah. But I mean, if you're going to go to a nightclub or you're not there in an official capacity, should you be dancing and doing backflips in a nightclub if you're wearing your gun and you're not there as an FBI person? You know what I mean? And also too, you know, like, you still have to. They want people to have more guns in America. They want teachers to have guns, and we can see how easy it is for a gun to go off just from the simplest little thing. You know, we do have to have more gun safety.
You do have to be a little bit more aware, though, when you are a public official, as an FBI agent is, as a cop is, of how you act in public. And I'm sorry that I'm not going to hold you to the same standard that I may hold Arthur and Jacqueline to when they're getting sloshed.
Yeah.
But you know, I would like to think that you're a little bit more aware of your surroundings. And
what are the laws in America? Now, everybody can own a gun if you don't have, you know, if you meet the criteria, right? Yeah. You can own a gun. What are the laws then if I decide it's Saturday night, I'm going to drink, and now I want to hold my gun in my hand? What are the laws? I know I'm not supposed to shoot my gun in the air or point it at people, but I mean, can I handle a gun while I'm drunk?
I don't believe there's any laws against being intoxicated and operating a firearm.
I think this is in almost any country, though. This isn't a United States problem.
No, I'm sure there's not. I have no idea about what Canada's laws are either.
Yeah.
Oh, here, definitely not. Like, you're getting fucked. You're gonna rightfully though. I mean, like, it's the one thing. Like, I mean, yes, we do have, I guess, strict gun control laws, but it's the attitude. It's our fucking attitude that sets the difference. The attitude of I've never felt unsafe to the point where I need to fucking bring a gun to a bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's literally the issue.
You're going out for a good time. What does the gun have to do with a good time?
You look at right now, we're in the midst of a fairly violent summer for us. Right now, right? I was reading the other day stating that we're almost on pace for like a murder a day, you know, which for us is that's a lot, you know what I mean?
That's a lot for Canada.
A lot of what's happening is the fact that these young, I'm going to call them thugs because it is a drug war. So, you know, call a spade, I guess, in this scenario, but it's because they have the firearm. They have the gun, so they're more inclined to fucking pull the thing out and try, you know what I mean, to use the fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's always been my issue with smaller guns that are easily concealable. It just allows some person that can't control their fucking emotions, that trump card, that fucking like, oh, I don't like what you just did to me, I'm gonna put a bullet in your fucking spine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a great
that's always been my thing with the whole gun control debate, with as far as the Americans are concerned. I get it. I do. Guns are fun. I've had a blast shooting them. Never in my life will I ever fucking agree to conceal and carry or anything like that, ever. Yeah. And that's a perfect example as to a freak fucking accident, which could have ended someone's fucking life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Luckily, the guy just got shot in his leg. And
exactly.
It's not,
thank God.
You know?
That could have been someone's head, and they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
or a backflip.
The thing is, things like this. There's so many unreported. I was actually reading an article on this. There's so many unreported gun incidents that, like, something as small as this, that don't really get reported on or go on the news or whatever, because they're so tiny little incidents. Yeah. And part of that sometimes is like, maybe we should have, before you're able to buy your very first weapon, it's kind of like with driving, same thing with motorcycles. We teach them a lesson, or like you get a permit. And now
you have to do that here in Canada. You have to do
I think that we should have some sort of safety course at least.
Yeah, I agree.
For people, because I'm sure that there are more issues in terms of smaller violent cases like this, or not necessarily violent, but you know what I mean, like smaller cases like this, than let's say mass shootings. Although it's kind of a little bit different in the United States of America now. It's a little different of an era.
And there's all kinds of stupid little things that happen that don't even make the news. You know, you hear about how many kids are shot because they're playing with mommy or daddy's guns or a neighbor's gun, you know, or just somebody's cleaning their gun and shoots, you know, shoots little Jimmy sitting on the chair, or they shoot their wife by accident. All kinds of mistakes happen. And that's the sad thing. A lot of these are not intentional shootings. Right? Exactly. But if we had a little more care or training, maybe we could prevent some of this.
I don't even think it's the training, because this incident that, you know, sparked this conversation, this guy has all the gun training in the fucking world. This guy is a federal fucking 100%. Investigator. All the fucking training in the world. It goes back to my point with complacency. When people forget that these are fucking tools literally meant to fucking kill shit. That's it. There's no other use.
It's not even something like you do once you join. I'm sure they have constant.
You'd have to. On those. You would have to. Yeah. You know, just to prevent said complacency. Yeah. And that to me is a big glaring issue. Like, even the fact if you think, like, you grow up your entire life around guns, everyone you know has a fucking sidearm strapped to them. You're not going to look at that as dangerous as it actually is. Yeah. Right? And I think that's another big issue. Is that people forget the fact that, like, that thing can end lives in fucking a millisecond. Yeah. Like, literally end someone's fucking life. Before you even realize that you fucked up, someone's dead. You know, they're not toys. They're not toys.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not toys whatsoever. Yeah.
You get, I get this feeling sometimes. I mean, watching
my it's funny.
Freak out. You know, I watch my one buddy from Ohio there freak out constantly about, you know, the Second Amendment and whatever. And it's like, the way you're talking about this, it sounds like a toddler with their fucking favorite, like, Tonka truck. And to me, that's terrifying. Like, that's literally terrifying, because you're kind of taking away the seriousness of what a fucking firearm is.
The severity. Well, you know, that's kind of the conversation that we kind of have at work a lot of the times. It's not something that's very prevalent in New York City. And I'm very fortunate enough, and I will say thank you to ex-Mayor Rudy Giuliani at the time for really cleaning up New York. I have to give him much props for that. And of course, Commissioner Kelly at the time for doing their jobs, their due diligence. But as you guys are aware, I was just at Radio City Hall last Wednesday, attending my sister's graduation, and I can easily tell you, you know, there was a huge line outside. There were huge, big crowds. One of the things that was in my head whilst we were going inside, presenting our tickets and stuff, and being sat down in this very long commencement was, oh my God, if somebody were to show up right now with an Uzi, there would be a lot of casualties. You know what I mean? And I that's not a normal train of thought. When I was young, I don't think I quite thought about that. Not at my graduation, not at almost anything.
I don't think any of us thought of that in any public setting until probably after.
And I'm not making this conversation about gun control at all. This is not about that, but it's to kind of just expand a little bit on what Arthur was saying. The fact that a lot of the times, the reason why I get so upset at a lot of NRA people and a lot of these super Second Amendment people is you don't realize that you're valuing this materialistic thing much more than a human life.
Yep.
You know, when we've had to lose innocent 5-year-olds and teachers in Sandy Hook, when we've had to lose so many at Parkland and in the other high school just recently, I've lost count of what schools and what states happening in. And the fact that we're not talking about these items as if they are actual killing machines, because that's what they're meant to be used for, to kill you. You know, that's sad.
It's the craziest part. I mean, again, for me, being on the outside looking in, that's always a sentiment that really fucking blows my mind, is the fact that you are defending a instrument meant for one thing and one thing only, which is to end life. I'm not going to say whether it was made to end human life or animal life or what have you, but that thing is meant to fucking kill. And you know, like you're saying, the severity of said instrument is kind of stripped away from the conversation.
That has to be the most poignant thing I have heard in a very long time when it comes to that, because we forget that this is not. I don't quite think guns were invented to Not
they absolutely were. Come
for
on.
sports shooting, they definitely weren't invented for sports shooting.
No,
I mean,
they were invented for defense.
Yeah, the Chinese when they figured out how to turn sulfur into fucking black powder, it wasn't for fireworks. You know what I mean? And when the Europeans took that technology and created the first like actual cannon, it wasn't the fucking it wasn't the sound fucking prayer. Like it was meant to murder people in fucking droves.
Absolutely.
Like,
what were the armadas doing? When in the seas, when they were having their little war, countries and countries. We're talking hundreds of years back. It was to hopefully sink the ship.
Yeah.
With that comes killing people.
Yeah.
And we have now pocket-sized that into this gun, right? That can fire as fast or as slow as can be. Let's be fair a little bit here. So sometimes we forget that these items were not used. There could have been good in that, but I don't really see much good when you can fire 60. Again, my point is always 60 shots in a second. It's a little, it's a little towing the line of defense at this point, because you're not defending yourself. You're out to annihilate.
Yeah.
No. Hopefully that FBI agent gets fucking fired.
Oh, I'm sure something's going to happen to him.
No, that's not going to happen. Let's
move on to the next story. This is, and I don't want to get into the whole who's right and wrong in this story in the sense of the crime that happened. So the family of Gregory Hill Jr. is sued the Florida St. Lucie County deputies for fatally shooting their father, or their husband, They responded to the house. A woman heard a noise complaint and called it in. They responded. Hill opened the garage door partially and then closed it. Newman said that Hill was that's the police officer, was brandishing a gun and shot 4 times through the door, killing Hill. Okay, I'm not saying who's right or wrong. I don't know enough about it. Jury found that Newman was not responsible, his partner was not responsible, and that Hill was 99% responsible for his own death. Okay, so there's that. But what I find really offensive is even though they said he was 99% responsible, they did decide to reward some money to the family. And what did they award? $1 for the funeral, and then $1 each for each child's loss. So $4 in total.
That was very harsh.
That's ridiculous. That's insulting. Yeah, just give no money at that point. Come on. You're talking about 7, 10, and 13-year-old children.
But I mean, there's also this part of me as I was actually reading this article while I was at work. No, I was not playing around if somebody listens from work. I actually read it. I kind of had a feeling about that too, because I say this a lot of the times. It's like, well, you do the crime, you do the time, right? And
that's why I'm not disputing whether he deserved to be shot. I have no idea. But I just think
a little too much.
They should have just been like, no, you lose. There's no compensation.
Well, that's kind of like me saying to a homeless person outside on the street, here's a grain of salt for you and a grain of rice for you to eat because that's all you deserve. Like that's a little too much sometimes.
I feel like that kind of becomes like maybe like a cruelty. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like what's the point? Because at this point when you're saying, okay, you're getting $4, I don't know. That just seems so unnecessary to me and like cruel. I don't know if I'm too compassionate or what.
I don't know. I think sometimes when you kind of lose the humanity, we are human beings after all. And if you lose the humanity in things, then you're nothing but a bunch of robots. You know what I mean? So you're going to have a natural reaction to it emotionally, whether it's one side of the spectrum or not. I just think that this is just a little like, you didn't kind of have to go. That's a little harsh. You know what I mean? $4. What the fuck are you going to do with that after taxes? You're going to get $2.50. Come on.
I mean, I have no problem with them not getting any money. Not every lawsuit is valid or deserving of a payout, right? But it just kills me that the jury, and this was a jury that decided this. This was 8 people on a jury that came.
Remember what the jury said. Remember, I don't know if you read the article that said what the lawyers were kind of baffled about was that you can't question what the jurors thought during the process of deciding the deciding factor. So it's kind of sometimes like, what the fuck?
And I don't want to agree with the lawyer.
Yeah.
Completely, because I don't know the full case. Now, the lawyer is saying a black child's pain is only worth $1 and Black lives don't matter. I don't know if that's the case. I don't want to get into that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know why the jury did go for $4. I just really feel like they should have been like, no, nothing, and leave it at that.
I don't want to touch the Black Lives Matter thing on.
Yeah, I don't know the position of the jury, right? I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't want to politically charge every single thing that there is to because it becomes so strenuous sometimes to talk. I know Arthur's very quiet about this, but it's so hard sometimes to do that, because it's just not fair. Sometimes the law is just what it is. It's just the law, or sometimes decisions are just what it is. It's just decisions. You know what I mean? It's like, and I don't know if this is part of our story lineup, but it's just like the decision that happened in the Supreme Court recently about which is today, the baker and the gay couple that was denied the cake. Sometimes it's just a decision, guys, and you just have to kind of take it for what it is. It's just a decision, and it's just another battle, another fight that you have to do again. But then, I don't know, I don't think it's a Black Lives Matter situation. I apologize if it comes off as harsh as it is.
Yeah, we're not trying, we don't know enough about the case to say whether these people on the jury are racist or whatever. We can't assume that every time a case involving Black people is denied that it's a racist jury or a racist judge.
Or that it's prejudice.
No, you can't. You can't.
Because that was the absolute opposite thing when we were arguing about the fucking Starbucks case.
No, but that's different in my opinion.
But that was
different.
Kind of racist, though, Arthur. I mean, the company itself kind of had a stand. So you kind of stand wrong on that.
Yeah, that was before we knew that, though. That was a joke.
They didn't commit a crime either. Like, in my opinion, this guy did commit a crime.
Yeah, this was a crime.
He brandished a gun and he made the police fear for his life. I don't know.
I don't know. I got nothing to say.
I also don't like when people sue the police all the time for things
I hate that shit.
Stuff like that.
It's pathetic.
Especially when, probably your family member was at fault in this case.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was a very nice person, and his family, I'm sure, is suffering, and that's sad. But, like, your man was drunk and he had a gun and he brandished a gun in front of the police. Like, sorry.
My understanding, maybe we come from a schooling of difference where if we are told, put your hands down or whatever the case is, you do it. Like,
you don't slam the door and then, you know what I mean? Like, they're gonna shoot you.
Like, so I was once on the train. I think I've told you the story a long time ago, Jacqueline. I used my student Metro card. Metro cards are what New Yorkers used to get on in and out of the transit. I was stopped because you weren't supposed to use it at the time, but I was using it properly because I was going to an after-school program, and I had my hands in my pocket. I was very nervous. It's kind of like my tic. Like, I just put my hands in my pocket when I'm nervous. And he was like, please take it out of your pocket. And I did. And then he put it back in again. He's like, please take your hands out of your pocket. And he said to me, are you nervous? I said, yes. He's like, well, don't be. It's a first-time offense. I was like, I've never been stopped by the police before. But I listened and I took my hands out of my pocket.
Yeah.
I just thought that when a law officer or a law official tells you to do something, you try and follow that. You don't go against it. You know what I mean? Because I've heard cases in situations where, I'm not going to name names on this, but all I was doing was selling weed on the corner. What?
Yeah.
Did you think that was okay?
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Well, that's it. I mean, your crimes have repercussions. I think anytime you show a gun to a cop, right?
Not a gun, any weapon.
Yeah, any weapon, you're putting your life in danger. And if the cop feels threatened, they have to shoot. And it's sad. Sometimes I think they don't have to always shoot first. In this case, they didn't know what was going on behind the door. They couldn't see, And if he could get shot through the garage door, they could have been shot through the garage door.
The fact of the matter is if we want to live in a fucking society where we are all safe, we need to award the police officers with the right to fucking put people down when said person has a weapon. And I'm sorry, I will never back down from that. The Sammy Ateem case, that one has pissed me off for fucking years ever since it happened. Oh, well, they didn't need to kill him. They didn't need to kill him. Yeah, they did. He had a fucking weapon, wouldn't put it down. The cops kept saying, put it down. No, fuck you, kill me. They killed you. Well, that's a right that we give the police officers so we can remain safe, so we can have a fucking life where we're
I'm not down for that all the time, though, because he was he was on a place where the police were not in danger. It's kind of like our guy that ran down the people last month with the van. He said, "Shoot me," and he, quote, had a weapon, and the cop didn't shoot him.
Should have. I wouldn't have cried if you fucking did. I'm not saying it has to happen. I'm not saying it has to happen in every situation. All I'm saying is that we award the police the right to fucking do that.
Well, that's
and I don't ever want to fucking live in a world where the cops can't put somebody fucking
they have
down
to second
who is
guess.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. Because the second you do that, then we lose the rule of law and order. And then what's that mean for me? That means that I have to go out and I have to start living a life that I don't fucking agree with just to survive. Yeah. I'm sorry. I like my cushy life of not having to worry about being fucking shot or stabbed by some fucking psychopath, because they know that there are real life consequences, meaning they're going to put your ass fucking down.
Yeah.
But that's the case, though. And I think that's why sometimes it's not that I've ever disagreed with the Black Lives Matter movement, because I think it's a very valid movement, right? It's just, this is a very different scenario. We're talking about a person who, I can't say if he had ill intentions, if he had any kind of violent intentions whatsoever. I can't say that because, I was not there and I don't know the story well enough. But I will say that in the situations that we've all spoken about, like Trayvon Martin and all the others, it was much different. Like, I agree with Arthur 100% on this. We pay New York City cops, at least in my case, New York City cops, our tax dollars because we are protected, or we are being protected. So if we hire somebody who's going to double guess someone walking around with a fucking rifle or a gun and just, like showing it off, I would go to my fucking councilman and fucking complain and say, bitch, what the fuck were you thinking, not shooting him?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I definitely don't think that every single person with a weapon is that much of a danger to everyone, but at the same point in time, I mean, this is the world we live in. These are the set of laws that we have, and as a society, as a country, anything like that, if we want to keep our peace and our pieces of mind, and knowing that your kids can walk to fucking school without some psychopath trying to fucking shoot at them.
Yeah.
If that's the price we have to pay, then sorry about your fucking luck. Yeah. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't affect me because I would never brandish a fucking weapon at a cop because I know they have the right to murder me if I fucking brandish a weapon at them.
And that's why sometimes it gets so mad when people say you come off so harsh when you say stuff like that, Ryan. And I always say no, because I would never be put in a position where I would do something so stupid like that.
It is, yeah.
Well, you would hope that you wouldn't be. You never know. Psychological breaks come and shit happens, but.
Well, I did. I had psychological break, but I wasn't walking around trying to shoot people. You know what I mean?
Good. That's good.
Crazy. Well, it's called. We don't award. I come from a mentality that we don't award people for doing things that they should be doing. Like not going to jail is not something you should be awarded for.
No.
Graduating high school is not.
Being free is the reward.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the whole thing, right? Like being free and being able to enjoy the luxuries of life is the reward for fucking living within our laws. And it's not like these laws were set to fucking fuck anyone over. They were set to fucking make us all feel safe and live prosperous lives. Lives where we could succeed and achieve greatness for our families. Now, if that means we got to shoot some fucking people that are out there brandishing weapons, then fucking so be it. I will not shed a fucking tear. Now, if I was to be that fucking dumb as to brandish a weapon at a cop and I got fucking put down and my family asked the government for any money, I'd haunt the shit out of them for being stupid. I fucked up. I pulled a weapon on the cops. You guys are fucking retarded. Excuse my language, but you guys are stupid as fucking shit for even going down this fucking road. Like seriously, I have no respect for that stuff. Now the sum of $4, I mean, that just is what it is. Like to me, that's just pure fucking comedy. Like you can't even write shit that funny. You really can't.
It wrote itself.
Basically. It did, like seriously. And I mean, I got so many jokes to make, but they're so fucking inappropriate. So I'm just holding my tongue.
I think that's kind of like the point, though, that Jacqueline has been trying to make is like that just came off extremely inappropriate. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
What was the point of that? Like, you could have just said this was unnecessary. You can't sue the state or, whatever.
Gregory Hill's at fault in his own death, and you are awarded $0.
$4.
But maybe because knowing how the U.S.'s laws work state by state, maybe there was some obscure case back in the fucking late 1800s that set some precedent saying that you have to give, the murdered member you know, if they were murdered by a government official, they have to receive something. Well,
maybe that is definitely a fair
decided.
point, because there are weird laws in every government, not just.
Well, but sometimes too, though, like it's so easy for us to go and talk about the family when we can talk about the lawyers who allow this kind of behavior too. Because if I was a lawyer, I'd say I think that maybe we should stop at just this, or this may just be the limit that we should take. Because sometimes you don't have to push the law. You know, we don't always have to be loving.
I didn't even think they were going for that much money, to be honest, either. I think they were only going for like 15 grand.
Just enough for the funeral, which is you know, even kind of commendable at some point. But at the same point in time, I mean, you know, like
no, if he's at fault, they don't deserve it. I'm sorry.
But I mean, it's fuck. I'm not going to do it.
No, don't.
Anyway.
Okay, let's move on with the next story. That should get Arthur going too. So, so you know, it's the end of the school year, and in America, they don't really do this in Canada, but they do this in America a lot. I always see it on movies and TV shows. They have the superlatives. You know, most likely to succeed, prettiest girl, most likely to be president. We didn't have them in my school. So a first grade teacher is in quite a bit of trouble. She's getting disciplinary action because she gave out some superlatives to her class. And one boy, his name is Hayden, he got 2. He got most talkative and class clown. Hayden's family was very upset by this and said that being called a clown is like a horrible thing.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, they said it's the teacher's job to instill confidence and positivity at a child in an early age, not just the parents. And she publicly humiliated him and needs to publicly apologize. Now, he did get a red nose with it. I don't know if he was compelled to wear it, but it's kind of an adorable little red nose.
Okay.
But yeah, like and the school agreed with them, and she's getting disciplined over there.
Well, they have to agree with her. Like they have to. Fuck's sakes, I hate this world.
Oh my god.
Oh, class clown, like it's so detrimental. You was called a clown. Oh my god, like shut up.
They're saying that class clown or clown is like equated to being not as smart. Like you're not.
How did somebody with such thin skin
if it was
give birth?
Funniest person, it'd be okay, they said, if it was funniest person, but class clown is like a negative connotation.
How about most interruptive little shit with ADD whose parents should probably fucking discipline a little puke? Is that one fucking suit your fucking
I like that one.
I like that one actually. That'd be funny.
Your shortcomings as a parent is now the fucking teacher's fault. Class clown is just another word for your kid talks too fucking much. Like
I always was talkative, and I probably would have got class. No, I wasn't the kind of kid that like stood up and disrupted the class, but I was the kind of kid that would like make jokes in class. So like if the teacher said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'd be something like smart ass and be like unemployed, like like that sort of thing.
Well, some people are just so sensitive. Like honest to God, I have been called worse at school by teachers themselves, and I didn't take it offensively. I took offense when I was once called the F word, not fuck, but the other F word by a teacher.
That's pretty
offensive. But like this is, I would think that this was in hopefully in good. I don't know the
That's great. She wasn't trying she wasn't like ugliest kid in class, most likely to end up shot by the cops. She wasn't doing something like that. Class clown and most talkative. What the hell?
Well, I will
on every single one of my report cards. Jacqueline is very talkative. Jacqueline talks too much.
Well, maybe I'll give a little bit of I guess a devil's advocate here. There are some teachers that are a little intense sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, girl, maybe you shouldn't have done that. But I don't know. Like, I would like to think that maybe this was done in maybe the school, maybe the classroom maybe even voted on things. Like, we don't know. Like, I don't know personally. So, but this is just a little too much to have to take disciplinary action. Like, that's a lot. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous.
It's crazy. Like, Logan was so bad in kindergarten and grade 1. Like, in kindergarten, he kicked teachers. Grade 1, he bloodied kids' noses. Like, he would have been most likely to end up in jail.
Yeah.
Like, most likely to be expelled at age 12. Like, these are the things that he should have deserved back then, you know?
Can't have it. People
but I do like there's some tweets they included in the BuzzFeed article that I got this from. Class Camp Clown was like the best award you could have received. Y'all sensitive.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the other one is this new generation about soft as fuck. So.
Yeah, they're not wrong.
It's so true.
They're not wrong.
Like Jacqueline, all of the complaints of my teachers would always be, he's such a smart kid, but oh my God, he just talks and talks and talks. I just got a scolding at work for talking too much. Like, my God, like, come on, people. Like, I've never thought that was a letdown. If anything, I would have thought that led me to a career. You know what I mean? For me, at least, because it allowed me to, first of all, hear, and then it allowed me also to be able to do what I do at my job. But people sometimes, I think, take things so far and so stupidly. Like, how are you? Girl, I don't know. If this is embarrassing.
I'm reading some comments on this article, and this is hysterical. There's one, a 6th grade teacher gave someone most likely to live in a van down by the river award one year.
Oh, it's amazing.
Somebody else's teacher gave out most lazy, most likely to become a criminal.
I won that award.
Most lazy?
No, the most likely to become a criminal. I'm not even fucking around with you. Like, I'm not in high school. They changed it for my yearbook. They said like Arthur was going to be most likely to become famous, and then they changed it to either through music or on an episode of Cops. That was my grade 9 year. You know what I mean? Like, and that, if anything, saying that might be detrimental to someone's fucking, psyche.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I don't
think you showed them, Arthur. You showed them.
Yeah, I'm still not in prison, suckers.
11 years out.
Grade 9 school friends have been.
Yeah, well, fuck, right? Like, out of my pure grade.
Talking about South Oshawa.
Yeah, suck it, motherfuckers.
Well, some of the things that we hear people say about, first of all, number one, school. Kids are just, forget teachers for a second. Kids are mean. They are the rudest little shits in the fucking world.
They are.
All of the teasing I took in school combined would probably make some of these little special snowflakes like kill themselves right now. I know I'm not fucking saying you should kill yourself, but you take, I've learned this, and this was a beautiful thing that my coworker had taught me. Adversity should not teach you to be harsh. If anything, maybe it should teach you to be a little bit more nice and a little bit softer and understanding. So sometimes you should take that parent of this child Hayden and be funny with it. Be like, oh honey, you could be funny, you're funny. Not a lot of people could be funny, because that's the truth. Not everybody can make everybody laugh.
Exactly.
No,
but everybody
can't take it like that.
I'm sure God.
Clown has some new school meaning to it that we don't know about yet, because we're not fucking, we're not in the offended circle, so we don't
clown, right? It's like probably in some rap song I'm not aware of, like Migos or something.
I'm sure it's some new lingo nowadays.
Somebody who's like,
but no, it's true.
Girlfriend
like, if some of these helicopter parents were sending their kids to the same elementary school that I went to when I was in elementary school,
they just get the shit beat out of them.
Fucking God. Like, I mean, it was rough when I went to elementary school. Like, it was literally rough.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough neighborhood with a lot of crazy children. Because Logan went there for his first 2 years kindergarten. Yeah. And let me tell you, I mean, and Logan wasn't even the worst kid in the class, and he was a little shit.
A lot of it was like fight or just be eaten. You know what I mean? Like, everyone was a fucking bully, so you really had to know.
It took a long time for Logan to grow out of that, because I really think he was exposed to it in kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but it's kind of dog eat dog, and I mean, it's true. If any of these little shits had to deal with this, or their parents had to see what like public schooling was, I mean, it would. I don't even know. It would be a meltdown of like epic fucking proportions.
I don't know how any of these people survived life.
And they won't.
Yeah.
Well, but like even up to this point, like the parents, like, you know what I mean? Like when people get so offended by things, like, do you not remember the shit we used to say on the school grounds to each other? Yeah. We were freaking vicious as shit. Your mama's on welfare. And we would tease them for being on welfare. Oh, you stink because you were dirty. Like, I'm sure people said shit to me because we never had clean clothes or food.
I'll never forget one of the kids said to me, because like, there was this group of kids, this was in middle school, and they were always, the popular kids or whatever, and I was passing by with my lunch tray or whatever, and one of the guys almost made a joke, and the guy who's still a friend of mine, his name is Kurt, grabbed his mouth and covered it and said, "Don't fuck with him, because he will fucking rip you a new one." I was a little fucking bitch, and you know why I survived? And I was probably one of the only out gay kids all throughout my whole schooling in the United States. Because I did not give a flying fuck who the fuck you were. I would rip you a new one. I didn't give a shit. So it's like, for me, I don't understand how some people could be so sensitive nowadays. Like, I don't care. Like, I said to a coworker of mine, call me whatever you want to call me, as long as you fucking acknowledge me, I'm okay.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
seriously.
I don't give a shit.
Well, and that's the thing, when we get all hurt, our feelings hurt. Then when someone calls you a feckless cunt, the world shuts down. The world shuts down. Okay, so let's move on to some assholes and some dumb creatures. Peacocks. Now, we talked about the freaking support peacock that was denied being on a plane.
Stupid bitch.
So some people in Surrey, BC, I guess there's like a group of like at least 40 peacocks just running around, wild peacocks. Feral is what they're calling them.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're loud all the time, but when mating season comes, they get really territorial.
They get aggressive, yeah.
And aggressive. And they're such a stupid bird that they see the reflection in the cars and they fight the cars. And they're causing thousands of dollars. Like, they're pecking the cars, right? Scratching and pecking. And they're causing a lot of problems to these cars. And people aren't allowed to, like, kill them because, it's against the law. And then there's the wildlife people can't, because they're not written into the law because they're not a natural creature to the area.
So how the fuck is it illegal to kill them if they're not natural?
I don't know. I guess you're not allowed to kill them.
Fuck that shit. Like, I can understand seagulls and pigeons and shit. They've been here since fucking, the first boat came around. But a fucking peacock? Fuck you, you dumb fucking bitch. Like,
you fucking scratch up my brand new car, I'm gonna kick you.
Like, I will fist fight a fucking goose. Like, don't act like I wouldn't fucking punch a like, don't act like I wouldn't, fucking fist fight a peacock. Like, I would. I don't give a shit. Fuck you.
That's the guy I was saying. Like, they used to like be in his tree outside. He had to chop down the tree last month because there'd be 45 of them up there on his roof and in the tree screaming all freaking night long.
No, fuck that.
They're
shit.
loud too. Like, they scream like a murder victim.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I had first moved into the apartment that I was living in. I think I told you guys this story. I think I even told this on air. They had my neighbor. This was my introduction to how there are raccoons in New York City, okay? I did not know for a very long time. Again, I was a sheltered kid a little bit. And they had like a cage or whatever right there. And I wish I could describe to you how it looked like, but they had a little cage. And our dog could fit through this. And I will never fucking forget the night. So our bedroom faced the wall, like by the hallway, or like, whatever, the walkway to our door. And you could hear, like, it was like that all night. And I woke up, this person who was with me. And I said, what is that? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what is that noise? It's like, I'm like, all loud, screeching. I'm like, oh my God, I have to call 911. There's people outside trying to attack us. And he says to me, no, those are raccoons. And I was like, what? There's raccoons in New York. He's like, have I not told you to be careful with chubs and the cage? I'm like, why? Because that cage is for raccoons to catch them. Bitch, let me tell you, I am all for no animal cruelty, but there are certain things, like in my old college, there were fucking geese. Let me tell you, those bitches would chase me, okay?
I love geese. I've only been chased by a goose one time, and that's because there's this place by our house where I grew up. It's close to where I live now, and we called it Garbage Hill. Everybody said it used to be a dump, and they just put earth over it. So we called it Garbage Hill. And there used to be nothing there. Now it's all developed. But my friend Christine and I bought a bag of bread at the convenience store, and we were going to go feed the geese and the ducks over there because there was tons of it. It was like all muddy and swampy. And we ran out of bread, and like 500 geese started coming for us. And we ran, and my feet got stuck, and I fell in the mud, and the geese were coming. But yeah.
Let me tell you though, like, there are just certain things that are unnatural. Geese chasing you, or a peacock. A peacock is fucking scary, okay?
But they have sharp beaks. Like, geese can't really hurt. I mean, if they fly up and they hit you with their wings, but their little beaks don't hurt you.
Let me tell you, weighs like 30 some odd pounds. Like, it can fuck with you pretty good.
Yes,
Oh,
it
if it
can.
gets up with its wings around your head, but when it's on the ground just hobbling.
Yeah.
and
All right, sure thing.
No,
Go
you
walk
don't
up to
fuck
the
with
next
that.
fucking Canada Goose you see and tell me that
I
it
do
can't.
all the time. Up at
Yeah,
the Walmart, they have eggs, and I go up there all the time and look at the eggs, and the geese just sit there and look at us.
You're
No,
playing
girl.
with fire. I'm gonna
Yes,
whittle
she
you
is.
up a fucking
I got
car
bit by a
window.
Canadian goose one time, though. I was feeding it at Ontario Place, and I looked away to talk to Scott, and it bit my finger, but it didn't hurt.
No, fuck a goose.
Well,
Fuck
no,
a
They
but
got
let
no
me
peacock.
tell you-
teeth. They're just a little beak. That's what I'm saying. They don't
No, but
hurt
it's
you.
the same with the raccoons here. Like, okay,
No, a raccoon will kill the shit out of you.
no, bitch. But like, they were outside by my window, and with a, I don't know what if that's their mating call. That is not attractive.
If you
girl,
think that's a
okay?
scary noise, you ever hear
Bitch.
freaking coyotes mating? That
No,
sounds like
yes,
people
actually, I
getting
have.
stabbed multiple times. Like, it's scary sounding.
It's so weird because like these creatures, like, okay, I finally saw a possum for the first time,
They're freaky.
and bitch,
Yeah, they're so scary looking.
let me fucking tell you, I was very, very inebriated at the time, and I was.
Did you try to pet it? Were you like, hello, kitty?
No. So I was outside with my friend's mom, who was like, "I'm gonna wait with you because, girl, you can't stand up straight." I'm like, "All right, that's fine." And I'm like, "Oh my God, there's a rat!" And everybody, this was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's like, "Girl, shut up." I'm like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" It was getting closer and closer to me because these
That's
New York
surprising.
City,
They normally don't come around people at all.
oh bitch, let me tell you, New York City animals are not.
They
to
don't
be
give a
fucked with,
fuck.
especially the rats
Yeah.
in the Bronx. They are not
Yeah.
regular rats. Those rats from the Bronx are intense, and. This fucking thing was, I jumped on top of the fucking car. Let me tell you, I was so fucking scared of this creature of the night. It was not normal.
Children of the night.
Because, okay, over here in New York, things are changing a little bit. I was told that if you see I think it was you who told me, Jacqueline, that if you see a raccoon in the morning, they're rabid. Because you're not supposed
No,
to.
I never said that. I've never heard that.
Oh,
Oh, in the
somebody told
daytime.
me this.
No,
Yes,
if you
in the
see them
daytime.
out walking around in the daytime, they're probably sick with distemper. Maybe
Yes.
not babies.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to see them at all.
Yeah, they don't come out.
They're
But
not
all
normal.
you ever hear, they're like all night. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, and you hear cats fighting and shit too.
No, bitch, this was a raccoon, girl. I did not go to the
Yeah.
store. I did not smoke cigarettes for the rest of the day because I was afraid. Okay. Don't fuck with them.
Oh my God. No, I remember one time because in the summer I'll leave my door open with the screen door shut.
Yes.
And
yes.
I have 2 dogs, and a raccoon came right up to the door and was looking in the window at me. Like, it's not afraid.
That is not a friend.
No,
They're not the kind of
crazy.
raccoons that Pocahontas had in her motherfucking
No,
Disney
that's no-
movie.
Oh no, yeah, this
No.
isn't a Disney movie. Like they don't
shit
fuck
rips
around.
up the garbage. We have to put big rocks on our garbage and our recycling bins because
Yep.
they
Yes.
shred the
Yeah,
shit
I've had
out
to
of
build
everything.
like purpose garbage bins to hide shit.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, again, I own a 115-pound Rottweiler, and the raccoons try to attack her. Like they
No,
don't give
yeah.
a fuck.
What?
They don't give a fuck.
No,
like,
they're not
they
afraid.
literally don't give a
I
fuck.
pound on my door at nighttime when I go to the door because my dogs have been sprayed by skunks. So now when I go to the door, I smell. If I smell even the faintest smell, they don't go out at night until that smell is gone. And then I pound on the door to scare any bunnies or raccoons or possums. And then I let the dogs out. Now the dogs still get shit. 2 years ago, Dingo chewed the shit out of the side of a raccoon, and it was crazy. Like I thought Dingo was hurt because she was dripping blood from
That
her
much
muzzle.
blood.
And Scott went out the back and shone the flashlight up into the tree, and he said there was a big hole in the side of the raccoon, and it was a good sized raccoon.
It's funny though. Like, I think that this should be the conversation that brings people together, because I swear to God, little things.
Everybody hates raccoons in theory.
Well, it's so funny because I'm not afraid. Like, I love dogs. I really, really do. I love dogs. And there's this big German Shepherd at the end of the block, and he walks around without a leash. He's so friendly, and I always pet him when I pass by going to the store. And he always kind of like walks by me or whatever. But I swear to God, this small little 10-pound raccoon scares the living
They're
daylights out of me.
scary.
They're
I'd be scared of them.
weird.
Old, like you come out and they run away up the tree, and then they just stand there looking at you like, I'm not leaving. I know you're going back inside your house at some point, and I'm going back in your garbage.
You haven't experienced bold raccoons until you meet like Northern Ontario, like Algonquin Park.
Oh
raccoons.
yeah, I've been in Algonquin.
They
A
don't
raccoon.
give a fuck.
We hung our packs up
Yeah.
to keep the bears away, and this motherfucker climbed down the rope and shredded up our backpacks and looked at us like, what are you gonna do about it?
We were doing a portage trip, me and a bunch of buddies, about 6-7 years ago. And so, we're just hanging out, fucking outside under the tarp, just getting ready to, get going in the morning. And literally, these raccoons came, didn't give a shit, opened our fucking cooler, chased us into the tent because we there was literally fucking 6 of them.
Yeah.
These brazen little bastards decided to fucking pick up.
Yeah.
They picked up a fucking can of like Gatorade powder you add to water and it tastes like Gatorade. My buddy was all about it. Literally picked up like a fucking big tin of that shit, put it on the fucking picnic bench, peeled the lid back, and was just eye fucking us the entire time as he's handful in this shit, growling at us, not giving a shit that we're there. And I mean, again, there's a good 6 of us, and just fucking no, fuck raccoons. But I mean, again, I'd rather them around than peacocks because at least they're natural.
No, peacocks are
like at least they're natural.
Yeah, peacocks are crazy.
I'm actually a little not happy about that. How we're protecting a feral species.
Yes.
Yeah, and
knowing that
who knows what else it could be doing to that community? Right. That
I was actually even hearing a few people a little while ago talking about how they don't want to decimate the Asian carps that are about to come into the Great Lakes, and it's like we have to. Because they're going to destroy our entire ecosystems. Yeah, but all animals have a right. But they've done all
along the Ohio and the Mississippi River.
But,
yeah,
it's that same kind of
and they're big.
Fucking sentiment. They are big, and they're not very good to eat either, which is another big issue.
These carps are actually not mostly unedible because they're
bony.
Mostly,
there's no flesh. Yeah,
that and they're garbage fish.
Big. Growing up, we had an obsession with like fish and stuff, and we had arowana, and we had, or is it arowana? I don't know how to pronounce it. Arowana.
Arapaima?
No. The one that kind of gets really really big. Is it arowana or arowana? I don't know what it's called, but it's really big. And we had carp. Oh my god, we had to. Oh, sadly, it had to be killed because it got so big.
Yeah. No, it's insane. I hate that shit. Like I hate the people that think that just because an animal's here that we have to protect it. It's a feral species. It does not belong in this.
It's gonna hurt
in this ecosystem, right? It's the same with Australia.
I'm an animal lover. You know me. I love the animals, but like things that are gonna hurt the environment that they're invading is not good.
It's why I don't get mad when I hear about the huge amounts of wild boar being culled in the States. They're feral. They're not meant to be there. They are decimating beaver land or deer grazing. You know what I mean? You have to deal with it. And I mean, peacocks in BC.
You have to control,
You know what I mean? Not only just because I fucking hate those stupid things, but I'd also like to preserve our our rainforest.
Yeah,
we have to control certain aspects of wildlife, and
absolutely,
it's because it's for half the time it's for our safety. Like this is why hunting season goes into play, right? Because we have to control the population of deer. Because if not, they will run rampant
and spread disease.
Forest rats aren't as majestical as the Bambi would have you believe.
Oh, I love deer, but they still need to be culled. Any creature needs to be culled to get out of control. Seals, you need to cull the seals. You need to cull the, even unfortunately, you have to cull the bears and the mountain lions. You just got to do it the right way.
Yes, we have to control, and it's just when something is not natural to the place. You kind of have to think about what the response to it would be. Like, having Peacock come up to your car and start fucking geeking your brand new Rolls Royce is not a pretty little sight.
I'd kill the fucking bird. Like, I would need less than that. I would just need to see a wild peacock.
Get some dogs, man, and just let them loose. Oh, my dog got killed it.
That's inhumane, though.
Yeah,
right? Like,
I don't like to see an animal ripped apart.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Like, you don't want the thing eaten alive, which is its lot in life. You know what I mean? Like every animal, like we're the only species on Earth that doesn't have to worry about being eaten alive. That's the outcome of every other fucking animal. But we are humanitarians. We do believe in conservation in a sense. So I mean,
round them up and send them to a zoo or some fucking resort in like the Dominican Republic or something.
Just fucking murder the things. Just fucking put them out of their fucking misery.
But this is happening also, or rather, this has been very prevalent in the Philippines. We have something called ascals. And it's a mixture of words. As being aso means dog, and then calle, which is also a Spanish word for street. And so you've got these ascal street dogs running rampant, and half of them are rabid. And there have been like a huge PETA movement going on in the Philippines. I've read, don't murder them. They are rabid. They will attack you.
Yeah.
They have to be controlled. And
there's a lot of wild dogs in some communities that are like less developed. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they didn't listen to Bob Barker, and people didn't get their pets spayed and or neutered. and this is the issue. And I mean, that sounds like a joke, but it's the fucking truth.
No, it's true.
Like, it's unfortunate, but here's
the thing.
You
don't really see, like, when's the last time you saw a stray dog in Oshawa or Toronto, Arthur? You don't see them anymore. They get picked up immediately and go to the ground. When I was a kid, you used to see them. Now you don't.
Last time I seen a stray dog, I was in the Dominican or Cuba.
Yeah, you don't see them here. Like, I guess in the States, maybe it's more of a problem, but up here, not in my area anyway. I don't know about out west. I don't know about down east. I didn't see any down east.
Down east, no. You have cats.
Yeah, cats. Tons of cats. Even here in Scarborough, tons of feral cats.
The stray and feral cats are insane. But even that to a point where, I mean, I understand that they do provide a very needed service for the cities.
Yeah.
They do help control the rat and mice populations, which is not something to, shake a stick at. We need that so we don't, die of dysentery and the fucking plague. But,
exactly.
If it gets to the point where it's a nuisance, I mean, we got to call the fucking animals. It's as much as I do understand a lot of the animal rights activists' point of view on the, we're better than that. We don't need to murder animals, blah, 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 blah. I like the life I live. I like the style of life I live. And if that means that I have to take out every fucking apex predator around me so I don't have to worry about being drug up a fucking tree by a mountain lion, then fuck it. I'm killing some mountain lions. Like, I literally don't care. You're not going to convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always going to put myself above a fucking animal. Like, literally, I'm always going to.
Dumb fucking peacock. Sorry,
right?
Peacock.
No,
you're
exactly.
Pretty to look at, but you're dumb as shit.
You're stupid. You sound fucked up. I heard you're not the best.
And they don't do anything. Like, it's not like they're like, a hawk, or even like seagulls will eat shit off the ground.
Yeah.
At least they're cleaning up the ground.
Yeah.
These dumb things don't do anything.
Yeah, they provide no service, none whatsoever, except to inspire like really tacky fashion.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Okay, well,
if you're wearing peacock shit, you're just not in the fucking loop, and you need to go home and start over.
I just want to really quickly talk. I mean, we're not scientists, so we can't talk about this too long anyway. But really quickly before I sign off, there's been an amazing, remarkable therapy for breast cancer. It's only been one case so far, but what they did, there was a woman who had terminal brain cancer, months to live. And what they did was they took some of the white cells out of her body and they did some sciencey things, and they taught them to recognize what the cancer would be, put in 90 billion of them back into her body, made with her own genes, right? 90 billion of them back in her body. And within weeks, her tumors were shrinking. She has been 2 years cancer free. Obviously it's still experimental, but this is incredibly hopeful that this could help a lot of different types of cancers.
See, the experimental thing always kind of bothers me, because if I'm diagnosed with a terminal illness, I shouldn't have to wait for like FDA or whatever approval for some experiment.
I'll do the testing, Graham.
If I'm going to die anyway, I should have every right to be like, no, I want to try this. I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Like, it's my life. It doesn't matter if I get a different type of cancer. Like, let me try it at least. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, I am dying.
It's not like, she got a piece of skin cancer, we just cut it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking about she had months to live.
Yeah, like terminal fucking illness. Like, you were fucked from the get-go. Like, a brain tumor or some shit. Like, no, just give me the experimental stuff. I don't care. I am fucking marked for death either way. And if it fucking kills me before my time's up, then, I mean, hoopty fucking ding dong. I was already marked for fucking death.
Cancer. She had tennis ball-sized tumors in her liver and other cancers throughout her body, and that is literally gone. She said in about a week, she could feel the tumors in her chest shrinking. In another week or two, I could feel it completely go away. Like, that's amazing. Like, let's stop. No offense to like the people that have been spending their lives doing drug research for cancer. Yeah. Let's put all our cancer research money into this gene therapy shit, because it seems like it's got the best chance of winning.
Can I just say this kind of in lieu of, I'm a very proud brother of my sister who's actually studying this. This is why I think men and women we need to put a lot more emphasis on STEM.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
This is like miracle cures that they're doing. They're curing blindness.
This is something that we need to absolutely invest in, because we can save lives. We've lost so many lives to, we talk about gun violence, we talk about, terrorism and all that other stuff. And it's very, very sad. There's a very simple solution to that. Well, not as simple, but you know what I mean? There's a lot more simple of a solution. This is something that we can potentially really say. It's the silent killers, right? Like, that we can hopefully save a lot of lives. And I've lost people to cancer, and I'm sure all of us have been affected by cancer in one way or another. And I hope that we can, as a society, at least come into what do you call that? An agreement that maybe this is something that we can all invest in. We invest stupid shit on dumb crap. Like, why not this?
The issue with that, though, is, I mean, there's too many people that still hold on to very deep religious beliefs, and the easiest way to get the stem cells is not one that's agreeable to their religious, sensibilities. So until we climb that hurdle, unfortunately, we're going to be where we're at.
That's the problem, because a lot of the lawmakers are still pretty
exactly right. That, not only that, the churches do have a huge fucking realm of influence, right? Like their influence goes fucking far. So I mean, there's some hurdles to fight, but I'm so with you. What we need to do is, well, not what we, but what someone needs to do is, one of these places that we like to laud as, the answers, like a Norway or one of the other Scandinavian countries, needs to implement it. Needs to show the benefits of it. You know what I mean? And I mean like full implementation across the board.
I think part of it is too, and I know we're over time, Jacqueline. I just want to say this. One of the things that we have a huge problem in, at least in the United States, and this is something I'm very passionate about, really, is student loans, right? A lot of kids now have to be practical, or have to think practically about what they need to go into college for. If we, as the United States of America, start really thinking about education in a way where we can provide free schooling for in-demand fields, it would help so much. We would, just the sheer amount of our population alone, we could dominate a field again, in research or something. Because this is, to me, this is so important. Like, I'm so proud of my sister for going into a field when she was said no to so many times by family members because it wasn't the practical, right? She's going into, as I've said to you guys off the air, full ride scholarship because somebody said enough. An institution said, no, this is great. You know what I mean? We want you to take this further. And so I think that sometimes not everything is in business. Not that there's anything wrong with business. Not everything is in ethics or whatever else. Sometimes it's in this. You know what I mean? And maybe we could lead the next step of research into finding something else. Maybe it's not for cancer. Maybe it's for HIV/AIDS. Maybe it's for emphysema, something. Penicillin was found by accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
Maybe we can do this, but it's sad to say that the steps just haven't been taken further because I think we don't encourage kids enough to go into fields like this. It's not interesting enough for them,
Yeah. Well, because everybody wants to be Insta famous, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's that saying, your dreams are fucking stupid. And that's essentially, in all honesty, and that's essentially what the saying means, is your dreams of being a rock star or an actor. Well, for one, they're not your dreams. They were given to you by fucking people that, have lucked out and lived that life.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is fair. Like, to dream to be famous just for your own fucking, your own kind of sense of self-worth, your dream is fucking stupid.
As kids, though, like I'll never forget, and I still hold on to that dream. I've always said I've always wanted to be a doctor. I mean, I'll never be a doctor now. I don't have the capacity to become a doctor. Not that I'm dumb; it's just not within me. But now it's like we encourage. I'll never forget hearing a parent say to a child, "No, you're not going to become a blah 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 because the money is in business." That's how we're training them now. And it's really sad sometimes to watch that because we're killing off the next generation of doctors, of nurses. We're scaring them with debts. I mean, we're talking, some people graduate from school with $300,000 worth of debt.
Yep.
And that's not, we're not encouraging them to be teachers. Who's going to be our next generation of educators?
When you pay fucking teachers when you pay a teacher fucking pittance, and then they have to fucking deal with, you know, gunfire. Yeah. No one's gonna want to go into that fucking field. And I've expressed my love for educators before. They're to me the most important fucking people alive, because they are every single fucking human being's main influence in life. They have more to do with the choices and the path that you're gonna fucking go on in life than your parents have. And I mean, again, there's no argument you can make that it'll change my mind on that. You spend more time with your educators than you do anybody else.
I don't think there is an argument that can trump that at all. No. That's the thing. Like, because it's the truth. We don't invest enough in that. So we'd rather invest, I'm sorry to say this, we'd rather remind people, oh, a city job will do just fine. You know, because it's very prevalent here in the United States.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everybody wants to work for the government.
Yeah. Instead of saying, why not become a researcher? Why not become this, or why not become that? Help the next, because we're such a selfish, and I'll end it with this. We're such a selfish society now. We think of the instant gratification that it's brought to us, that how the Chinese is doing it is amazing. They are strong because they thought, I'll build for the next one, and then the next one built for the next. And they are where they are because that's how they thought. They're beating you in that game because they invested in the next generation. You know what I'm saying?
We have to invest it correctly, because I'm sorry, not everyone's cut out to be a doctor or a cancer researcher. I agree. You know, some people, like, you can be smart and still not be smart enough to fucking, you know what I mean, to make any true headway in those fields. So to me, it's more being appropriate with where we're focusing on, and, you know, said free education or what have you.
Yeah.
It can't just be a one for all, which is unfair.
Not everybody's going to be a ballet dancer. Not everybody's going to be an electrician. Which you have to find what's appropriate and makes you happy.
Because, I mean, it's true. I kind of agree with what Ryan was saying. I would love to give free rides to doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly would. Like, if your fucking gambit in life is to heal people, then I don't think you should be $300,000 in debt.
No.
But if all you want to do is fucking study feminist underwater basket weaving, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Seriously,
like, that's a ridiculous degree to have.
And I mean, I just mean gender studies and period. Like, you know what I mean? No, you're not doing anything that's really benefiting.
You're still going to end up working at Starbucks.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and it's not to say that there isn't any merit or anything like that.
No, I have people that work at Starbucks, and it's a fantastic job. They get great benefits and they make good money.
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's not. I mean, if you earn a decent living and a decent wage, there's honor in every job. I don't care if you're a garbage man or you're a janitor or you're a nurse or you're a doctor. If you're earning a decent, honest wage,
these garbage men are making more than nurses are. If you ever see what they're beginning.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like people are always like, oh, garbage man. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, that was a horrible job. Now it's a dire job.
But without sanitation workers, janitors, garbage people, dump employees, you know, we'd need a hell of a lot more medical professionals due to the dysentery and the fucking plague and the shit that we'd all be
and I don't like when people will make fun of any job. I mean, I work at stupid No Frills. I'm a stupid cashier. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, if I'm not there, who's going to check out your groceries? You're going to starve to death, right?
The point, too, is that we're so busy trying to acquire titles that we forget that it's like you working at No Frills does not make you any less smart than somebody who holds a PhD. That you can't dissect someone's dissertation. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you dumb. Sometimes it's okay to just be average. You know what I mean? Or just live a normal life. Not everybody has to be the next president of the United States.
Remember, I wanted to be a lawyer, and then I was like, well, I have to go to school for another 6 years?
Yes.
I thought the same thing about archaeology. I wanted to be an archaeologist so bad, and then I looked into all the math, like extra math that I had to take. And I was like, fuck this nonsense. Fuck this shit. Like, I just want to dig up some pirate shit. Like, fuck out of here. Give me a shovel.
You want to be an adventurer.
I just want to be Laura Croft. Like, I want the tits and all. Like, it's.
I mean, if you're gonna want to be somebody, that's somebody cool to be.
Right. And then Angelina Jolie ruined the whole thing.
She's still better than that, Alicia Vikander. So let's say goodbye, and we'll be back on Wednesday at 6:30. Thanks for listening, and have a great couple of days.
Take care.